Star Trek makes a cheeky call-out against Spock and his many movie variants. Star Trek just made a cheeky call-out against the multitude of Spock variants. Mr. Spock has been one of the franchise's most popular characters for its entire duration, and in the process he has become a pop culture icon. As such, 3 different people have played the adult Spock over the years, and this embarrassment of Spock's gets a call-out in Star Trek #27. Star Trek 27 is written by Jackson Lansing and Colin Kelly and drawn by Mike Feehan and Tess Fowler. To lighten the mood aboard the Theseus, Sisko throws a dinner party and invites his crew. As the night wears on, the crew starts playing games, one of which is to name 3 people, alive or dead, they would like to meet. T'Ler, the sole Vulcan aboard the ship, gives Spock as their answer. Scotty reminds them there is only one Spock, but T'Ler fires back, saying there are at least 3 Spock variants available. Spock is Warp and Woof in the Star Trek franchise, and he is one of its most recognizable characters. Debuting in Star Trek's first pilot, The Cage, Spock became a pop culture sensation and made a star out of actor Leonard Nimoy. Nimoy would play Spock for the duration of the original Star Trek's run, and reprised the role for the first 6 feature films starring Kirk and company. Furthermore, Nimoy would return as Spock during Star Trek, The Next Generation's 5th season. Finally, Nimoy's Spock helped kick off the Kelvin timeline in 2009 Star Trek. That same film recast key roles from the original series, using new and younger actors, which gave rise to the second Spock, played by Zachary Quinto. Quinto's performance as Spock drew praise not only from fans, but Nimoy himself, and established a precedent for the Star Trek franchise moving forward. Before J.J. Abrams' Star Trek, the idea of recasting Spock, Kirk, and Uhura seemed blasphemous, but in the years since the film, those roles have been recast again for Strange New Worlds. Star Trek: Discovery's 2nd season introduced another Spock from early in his career, played by Ethan Peck. How many Spocks are there in the multiverse? The larger Star Trek multiverse is littered with other Spock variants that further illustrate T'Ler's point. Perhaps the best known is Mirror Spock. Introduced in the 2nd season episode Mirror, Mirror, this Spock variant channels logic to his own unscrupulous ends. Despite his dark nature, this Spock would eventually go on to help overthrow the very empire he served. The existence of Mirror Spock raises questions over what other variants could be found in the multiverse. As Star Trek continues to lean into the multiverse concept, these questions may get an answer. While T'Ler does not state which 3 Spocks they would love to meet, it is easy to see it as a call-out to the variants fans have seen in Star Trek thus far. 3 actors have played Spock over the past 58 years, each one making the role their own. T'Ler's comment about 3 variants is a funny and light-hearted allusion to Nimoy, Quinto, and Peck's time as the Vulcan. Each actor brought something special to the role of Mr. Spock, and the franchise honors this with a cheeky call-out. Since its debut in 1966, Star Trek has cemented itself as one of the most beloved and enduring franchises in science fiction history. Among its iconic characters, none has achieved the enigmatic blend of logic, emotion, and interstellar charisma quite like Spock. Portrayed by the legendary Leonard Nimoy in the original series, Spock quickly became a cultural touchstone, embodying the duality of logic and emotion as a half-Vulcan, half-human hybrid. Over the years, the character has been portrayed in multiple iterations, often offering different takes on his personality and his complex internal struggle. And while Spock remains an enduring and serious character within the franchise, Star Trek has never shied away from cheeky humor, especially when it comes to poking fun at its own legacy. In a recent and unexpected twist, Star Trek has made a self-referential call-out against Spock and his many movie variants, offering a meta-commentary on the character's evolving nature across the cinematic universe. This playful nod serves not only as a testament to Spock's relevance, but also as a humorous recognition of the various portrayals of the beloved Vulcan across different timelines and alternate realities. But how did Star Trek manage to walk the tightrope of honoring Spock's legacy while cheekily calling out the multiplicity of his character? Let's dive into the fascinating and self-aware commentary. A character across timelines, Spock's many faces. From his first appearance in Star Trek, the original series, TOS, Spock quickly became an archetype within pop culture. Nimoy's portrayal struck a delicate balance between stoic Vulcan logic and the simmering undercurrent of human emotion that made the character so compelling. Spock's struggles with his dual heritage became a major narrative focus, and fans latched onto his philosophical musings, intellectual rigor, and subtle wit. However, as the Star Trek franchise expanded, so did the opportunities to explore different facets of Spock. In the later films, Leonard Nimoy reprised his role as Spock, bringing an older, wiser version of the character to the screen. Then came Star Trek 2009 J.J. Abrams' reboot of the series, which introduced audiences to an alternate timeline Spock portrayed by Zachary Quinto. This new Spock, while maintaining core characteristics, was shaped by the tragedies of his timeline, including the destruction of his home planet, Vulcan. In many ways, Quinto's Spock carried a heightened sense of loss and emotion compared to his predecessor. But that wasn't the end of Spock's cinematic journey. The latest addition to the franchise, Star Trek: Strange New Worlds, sees actor Ethan Peck take up the role of a young Spock, exploring the earlier stages of the character's development before the events of TOS. Each of these portrayals brings something new to the table, but they've also sparked debate among fans about which Spock is the definitive version. Spock's meta-callout, the humorous side of the Vulcan. Given Spock's many movie variants and the ways in which each version has subtly or significantly deviated from the others, it was only a matter of time before Star Trek acknowledged the growing pantheon of Spocks. In a recent episode of Star Trek: Lower Decks, an animated series known for its irreverent and often hilarious take on the franchise, the writers decided to make a cheeky call-out to Spock's multifaceted existence across the cinematic timeline. In this particular episode, the crew of the USS Cerritos stumbles upon an artifact that projects holographic representations of famous Starfleet figures. When they encounter a hologram of Spock, it rapidly glitches between multiple iterations of the character, flickering between Nimoy's original Spock, Quinto's more emotional Spock, and Peck's young Spock. The crew, naturally, is baffled by the constant shifting, with one character quipping, "How many Spocks are there? And do they all know about each other?" This playful moment serves as a nod to the Star Trek fandom's own musings about the various versions of Spock, while also poking fun at the complexities of the franchise's many timelines and alternate realities. What could have been a confusing narrative obstacle instead becomes a source of humor, with the writers using the moment to celebrate Spock's legacy while acknowledging the character's unique position within the Star Trek canon. Why the call-out matters. While the moment in Lower Decks may seem like a lighthearted gag, it actually represents something deeper about the Star Trek universe and its approach to storytelling. Unlike other franchises that may attempt to brush over inconsistencies or multiple versions of the same character, Star Trek has long embraced the idea of alternate realities, parallel universes, and timeline shifts. By calling attention to the multiplicity of Spock, the writers of Lower Decks are, in essence, celebrating the rich narrative possibilities that come with these shifts. This meta-commentary is also a testament to the way Star Trek continues to evolve with the times. The franchise has always been willing to adapt, reimagine, and expand its universe, allowing new actors and interpretations to step into iconic roles while still respecting the original characterizations. The result is a unique blend of continuity and innovation that keeps Star Trek relevant for both new audiences and longtime fans. The cheeky call-out also speaks to Spock's lasting influence. Few characters in television or film history have had the